Is the sex life in your marriage alive or practically dead? And are there ways to make sex more fun and enjoyable in your marriage? Learn more on today's show. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to all of our guests, all our viewers, and indeed our awesome, awesome audience in the Moment Studio. Please give yourselves another round of applause. Thank you all so very much for joining us on today's show with a very, very exciting and a wonderful guest. Now, sexual health is a big part in any marriage, really is. It can affect and is affected by other aspects of the health. This could include your physical health, mental, emotional, and indeed your social health. Being in good sexual health means you are well informed, careful, and respectful to yourself and indeed to your spouse. It also means enjoying yourself sexually in a way you are comfortable with. Sexual health is not something you should manage on your own. It is something you should be able to talk about with people you trust and love, especially your spouse. Now, my guest on today's show is a dedicated medical doctor and a certified health and wellness coach. She's committed to social innovation and empowering young girls with health education. She's a member of the Toastmasters who excels in public speaking to drive positive change in the healthcare sector. Studio audience, please join me to welcome a very beautiful lady, Dr. Yvonne Perrietta Duroa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Yvonne. It's wonderful to have you here.
My pleasure.
So I'm very happy to talk about this very most important topic. And you know, when people think, we're talking sex. Yes, we are talking sex. And for those of you who are watching us from your homes, please make sure your children are not around to listen to this. Now, Dr. Yvonne, how important is sexual health in a marriage?
Sexual health is one of the most important aspects of relationship building. And in terms of marriage, you know that sex plays a huge role in building intimacy. So in general, having well-informed sexual informations helps to navigate the amount of intimacy, bonding, and in total, the longevity of a marriage.
So does that mean that a couple that has a healthy sexual health, you know, in their relationship, does it improve the longevity of the marriage and the relationship?
Yes, it does. It plays a huge role because during sexual intimacy, medically it's been proven that a lot of hormones are released that foster bonding between people.
Oh, really?
So,
medically
yes.
so?
Yes, it is proven
medically.
Wow.
Wow. Could you speak about that in just a minute, and tell us, you know, what is it? What is it that bonds, you know, and makes that happen so, you know, from a medical standpoint?
So generally, we know that there are several hormones the body produces. You have oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. But for sexual health, we'll be focusing on oxytocin. So it's called the love hormone.
Oh.
So women produce this hormone during sexual intimacy, at orgasm, and also during childbirth.
Oh, really?
Also for men, after ejaculation, there is also the release of this hormone. So this is what fosters the bond building between couples after sex or during sex. It's also casually or in smaller amounts reduced, you know, from hugs, kisses, and just little things that build intimacy. So medically proven, this can foster closeness in couples. And you know, the closer a couple are, the more there is better communication, less quarrels, better health, and less tendency for divorce.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I didn't know this. I did not know this, and I thought I knew a bit about sex education. No, so now let me ask you: if a person goes, maybe like all the people that take a vow of abstinence, can there be a negative implication of not actually having sex on their health, their physical health? If somebody doesn't have, sex for a long time in their lives, or never, could that, bring some kind of, I don't know, negativity to their health?
Well, we all need intimacy for good relationship in community.
Right.
But outside of that, we know that medically, I would focus on the men.
Yes.
We know that there is, how do I put it, tendency for prostate cancer. So the less chances are, if you have less sex, you have more chances of having prostate cancer.
I see.
So it is encouraged for men to have a huge amount of sex to be able to foster good health and prevent prostate cancer. Yes.
Wow. I bet people didn't know this, because I know that I had heard that there was some kind of negativity when people don't, but I didn't know. Is for the women, is there something that's also there, that a lady maybe that does not have sex, or never had or enough, could maybe be suspect or susceptible to a disease?
For women, so far we do not know of any, but the effects we know for women are more of psychological, more of mental. Like I said, there are hormones that are released after sexual intimacy. And if you have this, there are more chances of depression with less sex. So it's encouraged to have more sex, to have these happy hormones released.
Hormones.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. That's very, very important. That's very, very important. Yes. Yes. All right. So I want to go into female genital mutilation, or what people call female circumcision. Because in our culture, in these parts, and I used to think it was maybe the northern sector, but it's actually all over, and maybe even all over Africa, where you have ladies that are being circumcised and really mutilated. Can such women still grow up? Because these things are always done when they're younger, isn't it? So can such girls still go up as women and still have an enjoyable and healthy sex life?
Well, first off, genital mutilation is a very big issue that they're still trying to tackle all over Nigeria. The major problems we have are the complications of this mutilation, both the scarring, infection, and prolapse that comes from this act of violation. But a woman can still go on to have a healthy sexual life afterwards. Now, in the female genital anatomy, there are several points of pleasure. Now, during sexual genital mutilation, a part is cut off, and that is just one part. Now, this part is the part that is exposed, that you can see with your eyes physically. It is easy to access on the outside. That's why it is very important. But it is not the only point. So there are other points.
Okay.
Now, if in a situation like this, how to handle it will be more technical approach to sex. Okay. So if your partner is informed, he knows what to do better to be able to access your other points of pleasure. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Wow. And I asked this question because at a married couples retreat that we had in our church, a gentleman actually got up and spoke about this with about his wife having been circumcised as a child. And the impression that I got away from it anyhow was that, basically she was not really maybe able to enjoy, but with the right technique and the right information, then such women would still be able to have. Thank God for that. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Okay, we have. We'll take one question and then we'll take a break.
Okay.
What are, Dr. Yvonne, some of the myths and misconceptions, surrounding the whole issue of sexual intimacy in marriages, and that we have that maybe culturally based or whatever, that's probably not very healthy?
That a woman's orgasm is not important.
Oh.
That's one of the most popular misconceptions.
Oh, wow.
And that it's easy for a woman to get to orgasm. It's actually way more difficult for women to get to orgasm than for men. It's easier for men than for women. And in our society, women's pleasure is highly ignored. So satisfaction is more focused on the men than for the women. So that's a very common misconception. And also a very important myth is that it's a taboo topic. People don't want to talk about it for some reason. It's looked at as sin. But in the proper setting, which is in a family setting, people should be able to talk about it so that there are less complications, open communication. You can speak, you can say what you want, what you don't want. When there's proper communication between couples and it is not looked at as a taboo topic, this can foster a way healthier sex life between couples. So a myth that we're looking at is the orgasm for women, and as well as making it a taboo topic. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to come back to this same topic. So don't go away. We're going to be right back in a moment. Thank you so very, very much. I know our studio audience, they're totally engaged in this, this conversation. So, Dr. Yvonne, I want to go back to that issue because I've been married 29 years, right? And so I also have understanding of some of these things. Now, how important is it for a husband, a man, to make sure that his wife reaches that point where she has the satisfaction, what you call orgasm? How important is that?
Well, it is very important because just like we mentioned earlier, the bonding hormones. Imagine a relationship where a man gets to ejaculation, releases his bonding hormones. His wife doesn't get to orgasm, doesn't release her bonding hormones. You find out that she's less satisfied. And a lot of women don't speak up about it. So she's less satisfied, unhappy. Sex becomes more of a duty.
A chore.
Yes, in marriage. It becomes more of work than pleasure. Let's get over with this so that he is happy. And it has nothing to do with you. So it is a selfless act from the man to also consider the pleasure of his wife.
Of his wife. Yes. Absolutely. Why don't women speak up? Because, yes, why, what is it, what has brought us? Because I know that, I don't know whoever taught me, and I don't know, but I know that I could never speak up about, I thought it was cheap. What is it? How did we get there?
I would say traditional standards, traditional role, societal role. It is the positioning that women have been given in society that makes it look like, in general, their pleasure is not important.
For the woman?
Yes. it is made to look like that in society. But I believe that in a marital setting, you are no longer looking at just a woman. You're looking at your better half, your equal, your couple, your person. That person's happiness and pleasure should be priority to you. So I would say it's more of a societal construct.
Yeah. Can this lead to depression and possibly to a woman losing interest in the man in some ways, even without her thinking about it?
Yes, I would say so. I would say so because generally we hear of, or often we hear of situations where you find married couples where after a while you notice that the woman is no longer so focused or interested in her husband's happiness. She's more bonded to the children.
The children.
Because these, like I said, these hormones are also released during pregnancy, during childbirth. So if a woman is more connected to her kids and less focused on her husband because these hormones are equally not released,
yes,
it's definitely can lead to a breakdown in the level of intimacy between the husband and the wife. So there is lesser concern, lesser care, lesser everything for the husband than for the kids.
I would, just listening to you, I would even venture to say that, she begins to be less concerned about her appearance at home. Just, kind of wear a robe and rollers in her hair and stuff because she doesn't get pleased. And as a pastor, I counsel couples, and I know couples that have come to say, well, and usually the man, she says, I want it too much. Can men want sex too much?
Well, relatively, their testosterone levels are higher.
Okay.
So that leads to a higher sex drive. But the thing with marriage is long term. After menopause, the testosterone level in women increases. It goes back up.
After menopause?
Yes.
In their 50s and 60s?
Yes.
Chimney cricket.
So they have a tendency to want sex more after that period. But it is not commonly spoken about because their experience of sex is not as pleasurable. So there is no motivation for it.
I see. That's very interesting. And that leads to one of the questions that I have, which is how do people in their 50s and 60s, how can they still spice up their marriages without resorting to things like Valium and stuff? I hear there is one drug called Valium. Or is that's wrong? But I think I've heard it somewhere.
Yes.
How can people maintain their a healthy sex life as they age and go into their, senior years?
For maintenance, it would be to maintain your health in general,
Okay.
I would say. Diet, exercise, physical exercise, and just general checkups for maintenance. As of if you would have the same amount of energy as you have in your youth, I think that is highly unrealistic.
What can they do? What can they do? That's not going to require a whole amount of energy, but they can still find this pleasure and still have this release of all these happy hormones.
Communication.
Communication helps.
Yes. Communication plays a huge role. When you get older and you no longer have as much strength, it's okay to communicate that with your partner and find other ways to still get pleasure during sex. And also, if you notice problems with probably erection, ejaculation, satisfaction, it's also okay to seek medical advice.
Yes.
It is not less important when you're older. So, and there are a lot of herbs and natural things that help to encourage or build sexual stamina outside the chemical or harmful alternatives.
Okay. Wow, it's been a wonderful, interesting Very, very interesting conversation, Dr. Yvonne. And you've heard it. There is still hope. And for young couples, for couples in their middle age, really, really, really need to, be intentional.
Yes.
Because,
Absolutely.
your sexual health is important for your overall marital health. So I think couples should spend time, spend money buying, if knowledge.
Yes, definitely.
Search for proper knowledge, not crazy things, right? And if you need to go and see a doctor to get help, please, by all means, do so. My word, Dr. Yvonne, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Time is gone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We hope to have you again on
Definitely.
another episode of the Moment Show with Pastor Funke. Dr. Yvonne Drum.
Thank you.
God bless you. God bless you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to go into the Ask segment. All right, welcome back to those of you that are watching us from home, and also those members of our audience. Now, to help with this next segment is my very nice friend, my good friend, Mazi Prosper. Mazi, over to you.
Thank you, Pastor Funke. What a privilege to see you again.
Thank you.
And
It's great to always see you.
Yes, and the good thing about today is that this episode is really interesting because the issue of sex is something we should talk about.
True.
Families are suffering. People are suffering. In fact, I was even thinking about the singles, but I think you will answer that one.
Okay.
Because the singles, they're actually asking, so what do we do when they say you need more sex? I know that Pastor Funke always have answer for those kind of people. So this morning, we have a very wonderful audience here in the studio. And she has been thinking, while the talk show was going on, her mouth was itching to ask. I said, calm down, calm down. Your time will come. And her time is here. Ladies and gentlemen, help me celebrate Mother Victoria Okago.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful that this topic was brought forth. I want to ask this question, or rather, I want you to advise the singles, because we are all Christians.
Mm-hmm.
We are not to behave like the people in the world. So for singles who are unmarried, thank God. For
Thank
singles who are, for singles, what should they do? What should they do?
The single and the one that are not married yet.
Yes, singles who are not married. I mean, singles are not married, of course.
Yeah.
What should they do?
Yes, what should singles do?
Yes.
Very good question, and thank you very much, Victoria. So, look, those of us who are singles, obviously, as Christians, the topic of sex in marriage does not concern us. But honestly, it does not mean that some of us don't have some of these urges. Now, what we should do is not to go out and have sex, right? Now, how do you take your mind off of sex when you hear about it or you see other people discussing it or doing it, right? What it is that you fix your mind on what is wholesome, right? That's the only thing you can do. Fix your mind on something else. I would advise that all singles, especially those that are in the age of marriage, or maybe you already have a lady, a sister, or a brother that you are looking at, have friends that you can talk openly with. And I don't mean now friends of the opposite sex. I mean friends of maybe like a man. Have a man that you can call. Oh boy, let's go and watch football. Let's go. Or I'm under pressure.
Wow. I always know that Pastor Funke will always have the answer by the Spirit of God and by the wisdom. Okay, at this point, the live audience have done us well. Now the online people, are bombarding us with questions. But I want to beg the online people, because of time, we're picking this question randomly. But I pray that someday it will be your own question. But this particular person is asking, and the question is actually one of the things that is destroying marriages today. So he said, is it a good idea for couples to have sex toy?
I honestly would say no. I really don't think that. I really don't believe that people should have sex toys, right? I think that when you begin to get into things like sex toys, I think it can spoil, first of all, the real experience. And I also think that it's, in some ways, my mind tells me that it could actually then begin to be used to replace each other. And that could be dangerous. So yeah. Okay. All right. I wish we had some more time for more questions, but alas, our time is over. Again, I want to thank my guest, the lovely Dr. Yvonne Duroha, for coming to really share a lot with us. And I also thank my wonderful audience today. And before we close, God is always blessing us. We have a beautiful minstrel in the house, is anointed vessel of the Lord. Please, studio audience, let's welcome Victoria Ukagwu as she leads us in worship. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you at the next show. God bless you. Bye for now. Victoria, over to you.
To him who sits on the throne and unto the Lamb, to him who sits on the throne and unto the Lamb, to him who sings and unto the Lamb be blessing and glory and honor and power forever. Lord, be blessing and glory and honor and power forever. Be blessing and glory and honor and power forever. Shananiana nuninaniana sutalana ye alano saniana ingrenina dosi pratusha. Lord, let your kingdom come, let your will be done. Ananiana sutana niaradosa. Oh, be blessed, glory and honor, power forever. Oh, be blessed, glory